Hello and welcome back. Yes, we have lost our captain, and you know, I I blame the game for that death. I was literally trapped in like a dead end corner of the freaking map with the wind like pushing me away. With it turned out four freaking Scrivener. I don't even know if they're called Scriveners, but whatever. Those nasty lady things with the the shrieking and the shooting out purple things, majiggies. Like it was horrid, and there was the crazy captain marauder thingy-majiggy as well, and I had no chance. All right, I literally had no chance in hell, and I say that considering all of that, I the fact that I managed to kill two of the Scriveners is better than none. So, excuses and all of that aside, we've had our funeral for our captain. I've laid out my excuses for you. And now we have to go along and make our new captain and continue with the story, which means that there's going to be a whole chunk of the things that I'm going to have to do before we can get to kind of where we were. And make our way to Albion, because that's what I want to do. So I'm going to just go off on my own and do what I need to do. And then I'll meet you when we're actually ready to make our way to Albion. Because basically what I've noticed is that about an hour's of gameplay when we're still doing fresh things makes the half an hour episode or so. But since I'm going to have to do a lot of the repeats from before that we've already seen, and I don't really want to bore you with watching the same things over and over again, I'm going to do all of that and probably play for a couple of hours on my own before I come back and we're able to progress the story, as it were. I do apologize that I am really rubbish at the game and I can't see through the whole thing with just one continuous captain. But I'm pretty honest when it comes to stuff like this. I don't want to be like, oh, this game's just super easy, or I'm like super good at this game, or whatever it may be, because you know I'm not good at games. But it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them. And the thing is, even with me having to repeat a lot of the things in this game, I still find it fun, because now that I know the conversation options, I can kind of skip through them, and it's all about like trying to make that money, and it's the usual thing about trying to accumulate wealth and do all of the things and then try to retire a captain, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. So this time I am going to go with I'm going to go with a poet. I'm going to do the same thing, the celestials, but I am going to go for wealth as a thing to try to see if we can actually retire a captain, because I would like to see one of our captains survive to their natural end, shall we say, and then maybe retire them. And hopefully we'll be able to succeed in retiring this one. That's the hope. That outfit really does not go with that hat. There we go. Bit of a newspaper sort of boy look. I like it. And it's going to be my Lady Kenwood. I'm going to just go with default names because actually I'm not going to go with default names. Let's go with another god. You know what? Let's go with Zeus. Let's bring in the big gods. All right. Let's stick with the Greeks and let's go with the big gods this time. All right. Let's go. And I will meet you once everything's sort of been sorted, because it does look like I've kept most of the upgrades from the ship. And that's a good start. Onto the 7th generation. I got an achievement for hitting the 7th captain. I swear there's probably people out there that's like on first go is able to like see their captain through all the way, but that's just not me. But anyway, I'm just going to continue to pick on choose options that raises my hearts and my mirrors for the time being, and then we'll probably move on to some might, because that seems to be popping up a lot for the options. Apple did not fall far from the tree. The way you turned out came a little surprise to those around you. Comes from a mole, they said, but which of your family qualities do you embody? Their virtues, some inherit wealth, some inherit character. Good breeding, people said. Well, perhaps, but you've always been a keen observer and learned quickly. Right, what else? More heart and mirror options. A settler. For a time, you lived in the hand-to-mouth existence of a homesteader, carving a home in the frontier of the Reach. How old am I that I'm able to do all this stuff? Anyway. A hard-scrabble existence, scratched from the skies a month at a time. The Reach is verdant, but the homesteads cling to tiny, exposed sky rocks. Most fail. In the end, what drove you back to the skies? One bad season, that's all it takes. One harvest where the crops grow weeping tumors or venomous nodules. One bad wind that rips a house from its mooring. Okay. One more heart and mirror thing would be nice. Heart and mirror, heart and mirror. We're haunted. You're plagued by the past, by some guilt or sin or bad old ordeal that will not let you rest. A ghostly presence, a chill on the window, a breeze when the window is closed, a pressure on the edge of your bed. I think we've read this one before, but we'll continue. 6. We can choose one more. And I'll go with a mirror focus with maybe might. Promising days. Oh, I'm realizing that we could also gain sky stories and stuff. So I should have maybe looked at that, but whatever. It's a bit too late now. We'll go with Veil. Let's be all like spy like. But anyway, I'll see you once I've done most of the old stuff again, and then I'll meet you when we're about to do the new stuff. Once again, I am really sorry. I do need 5,000 sovereigns to be able to retire this captain. That's not impossible, I don't think. But anyway. Ta-da! Alrighty, so I've been, going off and doing all the things that we've done before multiple times now, to try to, like, get the game back to kind of, like, where there's like new stuff. And in between that, I've also been exploring because I wanted to complete this map. It's an issue I'm dealing with RPGs and unexplored corridors or like any blackened part of the map. Nope, must be explored. But anyway, so in doing so, I've come across the Parsifal, whatever it's called, and please ignore the background sounds because it's Saturday night when I'm recording this, and my neighbors are nutters. So anyway, moving on. So he says the engine drifts unhappily through the sky. Some unholiness keeps the front of the engine tethered to the rest, despite the eruption of corpse-white fungus that divide the train. The locomotive side is scored with black scars. The name Parsifal can be made out on the brass letters on the side. The first engine through the avid horizon, the navigator whispers. London's pride once, captained by Lieutenant Commander Percy Bryth. The engine was to chart the new horizons beyond Albion. Never came back. Board the Parsifal. Let's have a look. What happened to the first engine in the high wilderness? Its doors are sealed, its lights dim, it drifts in the currents mangled by fungal intrusions. Bolt cutters and pry bars are required to break the outer door. Its locking mechanism is antiquated and slicked with an oily substance. You wrench the door open, and are immediately greeted by the clouds of yellowing spores. Your vision blurs, just as your navigator torches them, igniting the air with burning fungus. A few gas lights flicker on the walls. The scratchy sound of a gramophone can be heard. Okay. Should I be scared? There's like, like on the left-hand side, seeing this like blood thing is a bit worrying. Should we go to the captain's cabin or breach the let's ignore the fungus for a little bit. We'll go into the captain's cabin. In the first design for London's engines, the captain always roomed towards the back of the train for their protection. Plush seats surround a decaying paper map. placed on mahogany table. Drinks, some floating with mildew, have been poured in glasses around the table. Maps hang from sprouting fronds like peeling wallpaper. Spores float gently throughout the room. Logbooks lie scattered about the table. No date from it after 1897. We're in 1906, so that's some time ago. The engine's destination was to be Traitor's Wood, the last entry regarding a stop at Hybris, which they named Hy Brazil. Something was brought on board. The captain's bunk has collapsed on a pile of rotten wood and infected bed sheets, wet with fungal growth. Right. I've gained 1 terror. Lovely. Let's look at the armory, shall we? The solid iron walls of the armory are stained with and rotted with sporing bodies. Lockers hang open, revealing decaying and antiquated sky suits. The old design with thermal chest plate and brass buttons for fastenings. Several of your crew coo appreciatively, but back away when prodding of one suit revealed a fruiting colony of golden back mushrooms has sprouted within. Amongst the outdated, unused weaponry, you uncover a trove of novels, fanciful stuff, but all concerned with the possibilities of space travel and the interaction between modern man and the alien. Maybe that will be the next game. I think I've got a good chance of success, but let's try breaching the fungus. And of course, that doesn't succeed. Sabers serve to hack away at the plump, bulging intrusions. It peels away like flesh carved from a roasted pig. The smell is considerably worse, however. The work is slow going. These twitching sheaths of fungus are of enormous size and depth. An American stoker remembers the redwood trees of his youth. Eventually, enough of a path is cleared to allow you to progress. It's a tight squeeze between the walls of livid flesh, allowing you to see the bulges within up close. Bulges in the same shape and size as you. And then you're through. This is terrifying. There is a subtle hint of horror and terror in these games that I really, really appreciate and quite enjoy. I've said multiple times before that I don't do horror games, and that's mostly because of the jump scares. And I don't like seeing gore. I don't need to see blood splattered everywhere to go, oh yeah, in an action game. I actually would prefer that there was as little blood as possible. I can handle gore just fine in reality. I've dealt with dead bodies, as I said. I've dealt with bleeding people. It's all fine. I can do that. Not a problem. Just don't need to see the glorified versions of it on TV or in games that is very unrealistic when you have seen the real stuff. Yes, the real stuff is potentially more grosser because you can smell it as well, but it's not like, I get how exaggeration and, how it just being flashy is what's important in games and in movies as well, but I don't need to see it to know what it's like and to remember what it's like. So I actually prefer this sort of horror where it's in the atmosphere. The hours that you'll spend playing this game is going to be spent with you floating by yourself in space, and that is both very calming and relaxing when nothing's happening, but at the same time when there's winds going and you hear the shrieks of the scriveners and stuff, that's when like the subtle horror comes in and you realize very much so you are alone in this space. You don't have a fleet of ships with you. You're very much on your own exploring the ends of civilization, and then you have these sort of horror moments of coming across this ship, the fungal growth, the mysteries. It's all very, very effective as horror, and I really, really like these sort of aspects of it. But anyway, that's just me going on a little rant about horror games and not liking jump scares, because jump scares can all go to hell and never come back. But anyway, so I'll just come back. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I just keep going on these tangents. Anyway, the front of the engine is even more infected with sprouting mushrooms and sporing fungal growths. The engine room lies ahead, seemingly the source of the of persistent movement. Before that, however, is a haze of spores rendering the corridor ahead entirely noxious. Okay, let's explore the crew's cabins. In locomotives as old as this, the crews were always assigned bunks near the engine room. The sounds of the gramophone are louder here. Battered metal and tormented wood paneling comprises the confines in which the crew dwelled. Chubby toadstools, round as pastries dot the cramped bunk beds. Mementos of home are scattered about the fruiting debris. Slim volumes of Arnold and Blake, vials of honey, and engravings of simple domestic scenes can be found under every bunk. You also uncover a little tally chart of a folded up bit of paper. It seemed that the crew were organizing a whip around for their commander's retirement present. They settled on a plot of land on Port Prosper. Oh, that's kind of lovely. Alright. Traverse through the sporing carriage. Well, we succeeded this time, yay. You go alone. Your crew disappears behind you, lost in a haze of orange and gold. Above, sects of sporing fungus encrust to the metalworks begins to erupt. Showers of spores and viscous liquids render the terrain still more hazardous. You feel a peculiar sensation. Your hands tingle, as though wishing to reach out to touch the fungus, as though for one more drink. You increase your speed. At last you leap over the final hissing sack of fungal eggs and find yourselves before the engine room door. Okay. Enter the engine room, I guess. The thick steel door is scored with bullet holes and is held in place by tendrils of ropey white fungus. As you approach, you notice the damage done to the walls riddled with bullets, oil stains on the carpet. An attack was mounted on the engine room. You can hear music loud and clear from the inside. An eerie green light pours through the hinges like floodwater. You push open the door. The engine room is cold as a sunless sky. Your breath hangs in a long chain before you. The boiler is off. The infernal gramophone sits atop the boiler. The music is no better for being close to it. Before you lies a dense macabre of fungus and corpses hand in front. On the wall, suspended by fungus, is a body in a captain's uniform. What happened here? Investigate the engine room. The corpses bear bullet wounds. They are unmarred by fungus decaying in peace. Amongst the ranks insignia, you spot a first officer, chief engineer, and a conductor. All died violent deaths. There are far too few to amount to a full crew. The boiler, a battered, antiquated, wheezing contraption, stands silent and broken. Strips of iron hang in front of it, as though it has suffered an explosion. Inside, you find fungus amongst the ashes, clumps and clusters of tendrils that sprout from the charcoal. When burnt, the spores would have infected the whole engine. Lovely. What happened to the captain? The corpse of the finest officer of his generation hangs from the wall, suspended by chains of pale fronds. His skin is sallow, and there are strands of golden fungus across his cheek, as though a sun sits beneath the skin. His eyes open. Oh my god. Percy Brythe looks down on you. Blue fruiting head speckles his beards like hanging seaweed. Next to him, the gramophone crackles out a droning anthem of years past. His mouth opens too wide as he speaks. His jaw cracks. Oh God, he's alive? I guess we'll listen to him? Suspended from... somehow he's alive. He groans. His mouth opens impossibly wide, and a cloud of yellow spores emerge. I'm all that's left. An oily liquid begins to drip from his left eye. I am a child of the grave garden. The voice alters, becoming more clipped, more static, like that of the voice of the gramophone. I am Lieutenant Commander Percy Brythe. I am captain of the Parsifal. My task was to explore the wilderness and return home with new discoveries. He groans as though whipping. I am all that remains. I want to go home. Right. Never mind the fact that this guy's been trapped by himself by fungus And we've kind of realized from the Hybris incident that the fungus is very much sentient in this game and in the Reach. And they do things like horrible things to people. And I am, mildly scared of the whole fungus thing. And it reminds me of, like, I've never played The Last of Us, but isn't that the game where there's the whole people becoming zombified through fungus or something, I think? But anyway, like it reminds me of that possibility, and in itself is not very pleasant, so I'm a little bit worried. Um, but yeah, so this is getting significantly worse. Now we have a zombie fungus situation. Just what I needed. Okay, so moving on, straight into the horror. Should we ask? Should we ask? Let's ask all the questions first. Ask him what happened here. We met the children on Hybris. We sought to know each other, wanted to go to the wood, wanted to see what was kept from us. Percy's drooling as he speaks. The gramophone clicks, and yet another patriotic dirge begins to play. Percy Bryce struggles in his bonds, pulling himself up to stand a little straighter. We made contract on Hybris. The fungus was so bright, so beautiful. His eyes shine gold. I brought it aboard. God forgive me. I wanted the crew to see, to know. Oil leaks from those hollowed eyes. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Some came willing, others refused to join us. We had to. He breaks off in silence, staring away into the middle distance. My terror keeps rising. What happened to him? How is he still alive? Percy Blythe launches into a long, meandering, slurry story of children and gardens, of a cruel king who needed but did not love his subjects despite their love for him, of knowledge denied and growth checked, of tyranny and freedom, of grief and betrayal and longing. The music bursts into sudden life. Percy jerks and fixes you with an infected eye. I was stupid. I thought we'd be welcome here. And we were. We were welcomed. We were loved. The children, the Verdants, they wanted us. He begins to sob. It's a sad, squelching sound. Console him. I feel sorry for this guy. You approach gingerly, fishing it for a handkerchief from your pocket. Reaching up, you begin to dab at the oily tears that scour the lieutenant commander's face. Beneath the grimace, you can see Percy's flesh is remarkably well preserved, save for a vibrant tendril of gold fungus running beneath the skin. Thank you, he whispers. Rightio. What does he want now? Lieutenant Commander Percy Bryce lets out a low moan and slumps forward. The chains of fungus adjust to accommodate this despair. Home, he slurs, like a man drunk demanding another drink. On Hybris. Mother spoiled us there. She set out her children across the stars to learn. The traitors would. We were forbidden from entering there, but now its king is dead. But this craft failed before we could arrive. The body jerks, as though shocked. Percy's face rises to face you. London, he rasps. London. Right, I don't think it's a good idea to take this fungus-ridden body to London. It just seems like, not ideal. Can the reservoir fly? The Pazifiel. Pazifiel? Yeah, Pazifiel. No, the lieutenant commander hisses, his eyes rolling in his head. Sabotage, mutiny, ignorance, no fuel. The children too greedy, spread too fast. Like fire, the engine is broken, the crew all gone, I am alone. His head lolls as though his neck were broken. Okay, I will be absolutely honest. I keep saying that, I don't know why. The whole atmosphere and the tragedy sort of honestly reminds me of Doctor Who. It's giving me very much Doctor Who vibes. And I think that's just me, to be honest. But I very much feel like this is Doctor Who. I love it. Decide his fate. Alright. Lieutenant Commander Percy Bryce, decorated hero of London's forces, first captain through the avid horizon, gazes at you, slack-jawed and unseen. Please, he rasps, take me home or finish this. We just wanted to know what was kept from us in Traitor's Wood. Why did our king not love his children? I don't know. Oh God. All of these options, burn it all down. The spread of the spores and all of that does concern me a bit because all of the people in Hybris are dead. Um, but at the same time, if the spores are sentient and they are aware and alive, then who am I to destroy a life? Like, who am I to destroy a sentient being just because it's not human? It would be like, okay, this is gonna sound so bad because, like, I am happy to kill bugs and I kill all spiders. Well, Lacey kills all the spiders. I just hoover up their dead bodies. Um, because I'm terrified of spiders and I can't stand the idea of ever going to sleep if there's a single bug in the house, because if I know it's there, then I know there are bugs I can't see in my house and don't remind me of that. But I like, if I've seen one, then until that one is gone, then I am not going to sleep. So I have some issues when it comes to bugs, but when it comes to like, but then I don't really consider them to be sentient creatures, which is wrong, and I'm aware of that. But like my cat or like dogs or like, birds, I do think of them as more sentient creatures and I would have some issues with killing them myself. Um, and then with the fungus, like they are speaking and that goes beyond the normal sentience that we see from like even animals. And once you consider all of that, then I'm not quite sure if killing him is the right answer. But then there seems to be a conflict between Percy Blythe as a person and the thing that's using him as a mouthpiece, which I think is just wrong. So the question now becomes, do we do what Percy wants, which we're not going to do, I'll be honest, because we're not taking him into London with all of his funguses on him to infect people in London just in case. That is like, that's just too dangerous. That's a risk that I'm not willing to take. Um, so it's going to be either to take he, the fungus back to Hybris or take Percy. Actually, both of them seem like what Fungus wants to do. With the Traitor's Wood thing kind of being the Fungus thing as well. It's a bit hard to remember exactly what was said by who. Hmm. Hmm. What part has... But I think Traitor's Wood might be a... I mean, Hybris is abandoned at this point, so sending them back to Hybris wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing on the planet, because there is no one there for the fungus to do any harm to. I'll be honest. Except for the finicky factor or whatever her name was, but like, it's her fault for staying there if she wants to stay. With all the fungus. I think she's Notters. Um you know what? But then Traitor's Wood is where um Belitha was on the mission to go to. I mean, bringing them onto our ship to begin with is also a risk, but I'm going to go to Traitor's Woods, I think. I'll go to Traitor's Wood and let the captain do what he wanted to do, I guess. Hopefully that's what he wanted to do. I'm doing what the captain wants and not the bad guys, hopefully. But anyway, let's do that. I will see you when I'm at Traitor's Wood because now we've got a whole new mission thingy to deal with. But see you then. Right, and once I've actually chosen an option, I forgot that things pop up and I should read that. So we've cut down, we've decided to take Percy Bryce to Traitor's Wood. We've already discussed that. The remnant of Percy Bryce does not appear to register your response. His head bobs with the tilting of the locomotive. You begin cutting the body down. It is a task only made more difficult by the discovery that most of the far wall, in fact, is a rubbery sort of mushroom. Those weak yellow flesh is entirely embedded in Blythe's back. You are forced to cut down a whole section of the wall, exposing the metal shell of the Parsifal, and carry Blythe out upon it. On board your engine, he mutters and twitches as though diminished by the separation. You leave the Parsifal drifting alone in the sky. He's now aboard my locomotive, and this may be a horrible thing I've just done. We'll see. Wonder what happens. No, nothing happens if I try to approach it again. But, And then I smashed into it. Whatever. Anyway, off we go. It's just quite beautiful though. Does look like a gun though. But anyway, I encountered it all the way over here. I was going to try to explore this sort of part of it, but I think I'm just going to go straight back to Trader's Wood because I want to drop this thing off as quick as possible because it sounds dangerous. And I think by going to Trader's Wood, I'm either going to like this sort of area that I haven't uncovered yet or like over here. So I don't know. I'm going to go over that way and see what happens. But anyway, I'll see you when something interesting happens. So, in exploring Traitor's Wood to look for wherever I was supposed to take this Captain Blythe fungus thingy majiggy, I've come across the Regent's grave. Here, at the heart of the forest, a great burrow built from the ancient stone stands. Gates of star-forged bronze block the entrance. So we can leave the gate and go away, but look, to be honest, there's two no thingies, majiggies, so you know the people that are like screaming and throws purple stuff at you and is shrieking? Well, they're just outside, so I'm just going to try to go inside and have a look at what's in it. I will deal with that threat and trying not to explode for a second time later. So first open the gates, shall we? Something is whispering from the other side. The gates will not budge. The metal scrapes and screams against the rock, and your arms strain with effort, but the gate holds fast. The whispering increases in volume from the darkness, but fades away as it becomes apparent you won't succeed. Inlaid in the metal of the gates are three hollows, the shape of seals. You can see no signs of any such object nearby. Perhaps the station as Traitor's Wood might be a starting point. Right, we need to find the freaking station to begin with, and I haven't found it yet, and I'm worried that I'm going to explode from the screen. Oh, I guess I have to leave. Now I just need to run away from these screaming things. Where the hell is the, No, stop throwing purple things at me. Go away. Oh, another dead end. Lovely. Of course there's another dead end. I've got some extra hull though, so that's a start. These are really, really hard to kill. Like, I've already shot one of them like 4 times and it's still alive and it's moving very rapidly, which makes firing at it quite difficult. But where is the station to Trader's Wood? I'm going to send out my bat to see if they can find anything. Nope, it has not found anything. Where is the station? The only station I know is Somerset Camp. I mean, I haven't looked at this way, so maybe it's there? I know it's not there because last time I went there was nothing but more bronzewood trees and screaming ladies that got me killed. So I'm going to go and have a look at over here. But that's the only part of like Traitor's Wood that could potentially have something that's a port. At any point I'm going to have to stop at Port Avon because I have no, I'm running very low on supplies and this is not going to work if I starve to death. But anyway, I will see you when we can actually find the station or something or do something. This is seriously nutters. But maybe that's what whole expedition with the squabbling scholars has something to do with. I'm not sure. But there is a lot of different mysteries in this game and I'm quite loving it. And I have a feeling if I had chosen different things that the choices would have been quite different, which I think is rather fascinating. This isn't a station, is it? No, this is where the marauders are. Lovely. And speaking of marauders, there's one right there. Damn it. Did not hit the marauder. But, anyway, the only thing I will say about the combat is that it's a lot easier to do if you are able to figure out which is left and right and run away a lot. And not actually shoot when your engine is overheating because you damage yourself. And it's really, really shit if you do that. So I have all of the hull I need. Oh, it's late and you're alone. Doubt prey upon you. Is this the path that you should have taken? You trespass upon the precincts of heaven. What price will be exacted of you? What price have you already paid? Right. We can drink some alcohol and let it all pass away. Let's do that. You're developing a taste for the bottle. Lovely. I'm becoming an alcoholic. When you wake, the bottle is empty and your memories is less complete. Someone is knocking on your cabin door. You're needed on the bridge. You take the necessary time to compose yourself. Better the crew not see. Yes, definitely. A wreck. We don't have anyone to... We don't have any room for a crew member, so we'll just mourn the dead. You're less now, Tara. Right. So there are those sort of little things that I am learning about the game. Like, I know that if I come across a wreck, I'm going to be given, like, a number of choices. I know what choice leads to what. But when it comes to the story bits of it, there is a very much a sensation that it's about your own journey and writing your own story. Especially with your different captains and the genealogy and all of that sort of stuff. So you can actually decide for yourself, like, do you... Oh, shoot. 2 marauder ships at once. I'll smash into that one. It's fine. Oh, and bees! Because why not? Let's just have everything going at once. Come on, marauder ship. There we go. Oh, I didn't avoid it entirely, but hey. I can have some of the hull sorted. And then I'll... Oh, there's one more. Of course there is. Oh, I've overheated. Do not fire, do not fire. Come on. There we go. See, I am learning the combat. I just can't deal with the wind plus the 3 screaming ladies and all of that stuff. It's just too much for me. I've got some gossip. Lovely. But we do need some more supplies. I'll get more gossip. Failed! Get an uncanny specimen. That's fine. Okay, so it's definitely not here. So it's gotta be here. It's gotta be here. Or it's referring to Somerset Camp. But anyway. I think, to be honest, that's enough for this episode. So what I'll do is I will do my homework in the meanwhile to get everything sort of sorted and the captain a little bit more settled, get some money going, maybe upgrade the ship to a different one, etc. And I will see you next episode, where hopefully we'll be able to figure out where the freaking hell Traders Wood thing is, or where am I supposed to take Percy Bryth. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you don't mind too much that my captains keep dying and that the journey hasn't exactly been smooth. But most of all, I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Mwah!